We're going to dig into the conversation on the Middle East, particularly the letter from Bakari Sellers, the conversation, the entire conversation about the questions of apartheid. Is it apartheid? We're just going to talk, man. I have him on the line. Matt, how's it going? How are you, Professor?
Hey Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks so much for joining me. Glad to have you back on the air. So, I mean, I sent you the interview. I sent you, what we were talking about this week, the conversation that I had with Rania Khalek. She's coming from a very pro-Palestinian position. And, I agree with a lot of what she said. I think I agree more with the perspective of Cornel West on the issue, particularly some identification and support of the intent, of the general intent of the boycott movement. There's a lot to unpack with this. So I always want to get different perspectives, and I like your perspective because I think even though it's different, it's balanced. What did you think about the letter that Bakari Sellers sent to the Congress, to the DNC, particularly defending the 2012 language, protecting Israel, Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and not referring to what's happening in with the settlements, not referring to it as an occupation? What are some of your thoughts on that?
This is my perspective on it, right? That the letter says a lot of things that I believe that Bakari Sellers almost certainly believes in and believes in for his reasons. I don't think the letter says anything which explains why we can't call occupation occupation.
Right.
I think the explanation why we can't call occupation is that there are votes to be lost, there are donations to be lost, and the real logic of the letter is just don't touch this, right? We've got this crazy guy Trump we're trying to beat. Don't deal with this right now. Which is not to say I'm sure that Bakari Sellers holds these beliefs. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but the letter to me seems a little short on logic and long on political strategy.
Okay, so I love what you said, and actually I didn't hear that part. You're saying that it doesn't lay out the outline, doesn't outline any logic for why calling occupation, why not calling occupation occupation, and without him actually hitting that logic, he's essentially saying, let's leave it alone, let's not stir this hornet's nest, and let's make sure we get all the same votes that we would get in a year without calling the settlements occupation. Correct?
That's correct. I mean, the closest thing he comes to that, as far as I read it, is saying, for example, that BDS is something that he disagrees with, that he thinks is dangerous, which is an opinion that he's certainly people hold. But again, that only works as sort of a scare tactic or like a slippery slope argument, right? If we start saying occupation, then all of a sudden we'll have BDS and we'll have people boycotting Israeli universities, and that's simply not true. Right, there are many people who are supporters of Israel, and I am one of them. I think that Bernie Sanders is one of them, who is, are not comfortable with the BDS movement in its entirety, but certainly want to call a settlement, certainly want to call an occupation, and that line's just not drawn in this letter. Which is why I lean towards reading this as him sort of saying, like, look, what is the political gain here? What is the benefit? And the question really is, can the progressive movement, punish, actually I hate to use that word, but can they push on this particular issue, right? Is it high enough up on the progressive agenda? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that the Sanders crew wants to put into this platform. How much weight are they going to put on this particular issue? And then when it comes to progressive voters, are people willing to stay home if, for example, Clinton moves in ways that they like in education, moves in ways in that they like about taxation or whatever the case might be, if she doesn't move on Israel? And the gamble here is that the progressives will come out if you give them other things. Let's not move on Israel and then disrupt the center.